All righty, I am here. We're live streaming. Let's see, we're on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn. We're waiting for Pitt. I sent him the invitation a little bit late. We're getting started with this. We're going to get all your questions answered on, the biggest thing I hear people ask all the time, well, are they pre-qualified or are they pre-approved? And what's the difference between that? What's better when you're looking at offers? So a lot of the content that I bring on here is for agents because I like to help the agents with information that helps them in their business. I'm always looking to grow my network and grow my organization. So of course, if anyone's looking for something to be a part of, you're not happy maybe where you're at, or you have some stumbling blocks and you just need some help, just reach out to me and I'd be happy to help you. So today's content has to do with kind of the differences between the pre-approval, the pre-qualification. And so that's going to help the agents understand that. So if you're a listing agent and maybe you're newer and you're not sure the significance of one over the other, we're going to get that answered for you. And then also for consumers, right? So for buyers and for sellers, so that you're also in the know on how to, review an offer, what it means if somebody has a pre-approval letter. And hey, is your agent calling those lenders and talking with them and verifying stuff? So there's a lot of times, people are like, oh, it's low inventory. We've got tons of offers coming in. And so the sellers are excited. Maybe the agent is not seasoned in today's market and gets overwhelmed with maybe 10 offers, 15 offers, whatever it might be. And so there's, you can put that on a spreadsheet, you can look at it, and really understanding what those offers mean, what the terms are, is super important. And so I hope to help agents with that and also help the consumers, or the end users, I should say, sellers, when you're reviewing an offer. So the other thing is, when an agent does know exactly what it is that they're looking at and they share that with you, you should really take that to heart. So just because somebody's offered you $10,000 more, it might not even matter if their loan is not pre-underwritten, for example. So those are some important things. Let me see if I can get Pitt here and going. We may have to reschedule him. I am live on live stream. I think he thought that he was sending me like a Zoom link. So he was probably waiting for me to jump into his Zoom, but I was wanting to bring him onto our live stream today. It might be something that we just have to redo. So let me see here. When in doubt, the old-fashioned way, I'll call it. So, and this is, let's see. Okay. When he comes here, then I'll be only on that side. Hey. Okay. Perfectamundo. Okay. Yeah. So if you click on it, then I'm going to add you to my stream. Dude, you're here. I'm not hearing. Where's your volume? I'm not hearing you. Let me see if I can add your volume. Mic settings. You should be able to talk. Can you hear me? This is my first time experiencing this. Okay. I cannot hear you, but I should be able to. What the heck? Okay. Check your mic.
Is that working better?
Yeah, now we can hear you. Yay.
Yay.
All right, good.
Hang on. Yeah, I've never been in your space, so hang on, let me.
That's
okay,
right.
So I've got audio now and camera's working. Good. The right camera's working. No.
There we go.
Hang on, the wrong camera's working. One moment.
Okay.
Let me switch cameras.
Cracking me up.
I know.
Oh, and that's supposed to be over on that side when I'm filming. What else do I have? Oh, I have my little.
There you go. Now my better camera's working.
You got it?
Hi, Hayley.
Hi, how are you?
I am doing great. Let me just save a document over here.
Okay.
And be prepared so I can give you my full attention.
All right.
Bam.
Well, we are live streaming. I don't know how many people are tuning in right now, but I will repurpose this video later. I have a team that does that for me. One of the things that I have done, Pitt, and why I wanted to bring you on as one of the first people for my new live stream channel is I'm all about educating, equipping, and encouraging people. We need to grow and go, right? And that's just kind of what I'm all about. So being with eXp Realty, of course, I do content that is based for agents. So one of the things is there's agents of all different backgrounds, different skill sets, and all different levels of experience. So one of the questions and why I wanted to bring you on as a lender is, okay, I'm looking at this and I have a pre-approval in my hand or I have a pre-qualification in my hand. Can you shed some light on the difference between a pre-approval and a pre-qualification in the loan world?
I love it. Great question, Hayley, and thanks for having me on. You know, there's a huge difference between how people do the approval process. And it's that process where, as an originator, we make our money. You know, the $8,000, $9,000, $7,000 you're going to make on a loan, you're making it in that first initial contact, getting the documents, getting the application, and then doing that consult, doing that onboarding consult where you go over what the client needs. You get husband and wife on there, you review the documents, you straighten out the application, you find out what their tolerance is for payment, where the money's coming from, you know, and you put all that in the system, and then you run it through what we call AUS, which is an automated system, which then gives us our approval based on the documents we parsed, meaning we looked at the income, we matched it up, we matched up the assets. Then we get that approval, and then we have an approved loan, and then we're in a position to write a pre-approval or a loan approval. I think there's very little difference between the word pre-approval and loan approval.
Okay.
It's just what process did that professional put them through, and do we have what's called AUS? AUS runs both DU and LP, which is the automated.
Okay, so if somebody's just pre-qualified, they went online, they plugged in and said, I make $250,000 a year and I don't have any bills or whatever, right? And this is what I'm looking at. And then it says, oh, you're pre-qualified for a loan for this amount of money, but now we have to do our research. Is that kind of the difference between the two?
It's huge. So you're kind of talking about some national lenders and online stuff versus the boots on the ground, the local mortgage person broker. And yeah, of course, just like the local realtor, the local broker is probably going to do a higher level. But that's very weak what you just produced there. So, but let's talk about like, okay, so Hayley, you referred me somebody, I put them through my process, which we've done. I've done my consult, I've issued the approval letter to you, and we've had these phone conversations where these are the hot buttons, right? We need this many days to close. They're getting a gift from so-and-so. I talked to them about proof of funds. I educated them that they're going to need to provide that with the pre-approval. We talked about how quickly they can close, what contingencies we can have or not have. You gave me the property address. I ran it to see if I got the property inspection waiver. Property inspection waiver is no appraisal. I then ran it and found out what appraisal is needed. Is it just a drive-by or what we call a desktop, or is it a full appraisal? So then when you write the offer, we could try to eliminate these contingencies, you know, because the three that are there, the property I have nothing to do with, but the other two are directly related to me. It's the appraisal and the loan. So in most cases, if you do a good approval up front and a good consult and you educate, you can go in and remove the loan contingency and just have the appraisal because you got the loan approved. You've got all your work done. All I need is an address, and then I can put this deal together. And that's the conversation that you have to have with the listing agent. So what I want people to do is, include me in the offer. I've done this work. I'm the best advocate for this borrower because I know the financing. And, when I get a chance to talk, get CC'd an offer, and I can call the listing agent and tell the listing agent, why they should accept our offer and see if they have any questions, and give that confidence to let them know that I'm here and I'm going to get this deal done. And at that same time, it gives me a chance to talk about what a great team the buyer's agent, yourself and me, make, and why a listing agent would want to work with us. And they'd want to accept our offer. And I find that that's the, that's like the natural course of how we like to do deals. Naturally.
Absolutely. I've partnered with you for a long time, and I have this level of confidence that when, I give you, they give you a call, they get all their stuff into you. I know that when I get a letter from you, we're crossing the finish line together. Right. And you and I had a situation where we had, right in, I think it was 2020, when the market just really started escalating rapidly, and the appraisals were behind really. Correct. Of what was happening, right?
The values were hard.
The values were behind, sure. Yeah. And there just wasn't enough data out there because it was just kind of like all of a sudden, it was these prices. So because of our relationship and because of our level of communication and because it is a team, we've got the buyers, we've got the lender, and we have the buyer's agent, and we all worked really well together on that. We were able to overcome quite an appraisal gap.
Yeah. Biggest one I've ever seen.
Yeah. So, and what's amazing today is the home, like they haven't even owned it a year yet. I believe. I think it's
probably a little bit over a year now.
Just over a year now? Okay. Yes. It is just over a year. But they're already, the appraisal gap has already been more than taken care of with their current home value. So we knew where it was going. We understood in the market what was happening. And they also did great on a property that they sold before. But that's one of the things with that kind of real personal relationship. These are some of the challenges that I think possibly in another setting, or possibly with a different lender, without that relationship that we had built, I believe that it might have been more difficult to overcome.
Definitely. And so not to poke fun at our national lenders or anything, but it really is a craft of being a local mortgage broker or the local mortgage professional, that's here to answer things over the weekend, to talk through things with the agents, because we take it real personal. You and I do. Mm-hmm. If, this isn't just a deal in another state that, we're just not going to answer the phone for again. These are the livelihood of the people. And it's that basis of taking care of the people. If on the loan side, if people just slow down and provide a simple but extraordinary loan experience, just simple, easy, but extraordinary, then everything goes really well, because everything else is in the contract, buyer and seller. The deal can't close without the financing. And so everybody starts looking at me in the transaction once you put it together, because I've got to get us to the finish line, to get us clear to close. And then, I love when we get to call and we're clear to close on a deal, but then everybody always goes, well, what happens when you're clear to close on a deal? We know about CD getting out, Pitt, we know whether they made application, we know whether the appraisal came back in, but what the heck is clear to close? And that's the favorite part, is getting the deal clear to close.
Yeah. So, and let's elaborate on that a little bit too, just because content that I have out there that people may be watching as well is also for buyers. Maybe they're first-time home buyers. And so let's just kind of maybe, well, first of all, you are a local lender. I work with you as a local lender. So this is definitely my preference, because there's a relationship built in, and that key element, like you just said, we're here in the town where they're buying the house.
Mm-hmm.
I'm here in the town where they're buying the house. You're here in the town where they're buying the house. And we're in the business to stay in the business. So repeat business is great. Referrals are great. So we're doing everything that we can to not make promises that are empty, right? We
Mm-hmm.
deal in the reality. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes when there's challenges, you have been great on helping people say, oh, this is what you need to do in order to overcome those challenges. And maybe it's not right now, but maybe it's down the road. But I think that the key is if we can just address to maybe first-time home buyers or people who thought maybe they never could buy a home. And now maybe, it might be a reality for them. Just kind of the process then. So they would give you a call and just kind of walk us through that. Like, what are the top things that they need to be prepared for?
Well, let's just the process first of whether you're a first-time buyer or you're, Elon Musk calling me for money. Would he call me? No.
Anyway, give him my number. Give him my number, Pitt.
Anyway, it's the same process. You have a human conversation. You have to apply the link I send the people. They apply. That's easy. It's fast. Then we look at it. Then we share a Dropbox and we get documents and we parse or match up the documents. You make this much on the application. Do you really make it on the pay stub? We look at the bank statements. We do all that. That process is the same process. Then we have a consult. We get on this. We go like this. We used to come in the office. We go Google Meet, whatever. And we go through it with both partners, one person. So we discover all that. Now let's break down if you're a first-time buyer. If you're somebody that hasn't owned a home right now. There are some great programs out there. The number one that just came out is the California Equity Builder. You Google it right now, California Equity Builder.
Okay.
You can get up 10% down. I'm telling you, it is a great program. The way they put this program together is simply very good for the consumer. It's fantastic. But however, it's so restrictive in the income limit to the sales price. So it makes a great story, but when you peel the onion away, it's based on your family size, and you can only be 80% of what's called the AMI, the area median income. That can be 72,000, 80, 90,000. It varies between the counties, but it's not a lot. So basically with this new California Equity Builder program, you're probably not going to be able to buy above about a $350,000 to $400,000 house. $350,000 is even stretching it in a lot of areas. So what it comes back to is you've got to go through, okay, so what is the most restrictive part? It's income. So a lot of the programs that sound great don't work because of the income. Does that make sense, Hayley?
Yes.
It's your income. Now, there are some good programs out there that allow unlimited income. And there's nothing wrong with them. But however, you don't get everything for free. You either, on both of the programs, you're going to take a higher rate. So it's going to raise your payment a little bit.
Okay.
On one of the programs, you're over encumbering the house. You're doing a first, second, and a third. And so you actually owe more than what the house was worth. And so that's not necessarily bad, but people got to understand it coming in. I'm a big believer that the best thing to do, and this doesn't sound good, but beg, borrow, I was going to say beg, borrow, or steal, but beg, borrow, or get the minimum 3%. Get that 3% of the purchase price. And then do either a conventional, which would be best, or an FHA, and get in and don't over encumber the house. Have the lowest payment because you have the best terms out there. And so a first-time buyer, let's face it, it's all about the credit. It's all about the credit. A lot of our first-time buyers, they're now ready to go income-wise. They're paying enough in rent, but they haven't done enough with the credit to get the credit high enough. And so a lot of the first-time buyers, Hayley, is really about slowing down, understanding how to play the credit game. I use a company called Blue Water Credit. Jeff Sipes at Blue Water's been around 13 years. One of my clients, in fact, personal clients. I send everybody over for a free consult if you're a first-time buyer, because very seldom do first-time buyers have 740 credit scores. Very seldom. Usually those credit scores are 670, 6 something. And the difference in the cost in borrowing money when you're a lower credit score, Hayley, versus the higher credit score, it could be hundreds of dollars a month. And so, you really slow down, educate people, and say this is possible, but you need to do a little bit more legwork to get ready to go. Legwork. And that's the process you put the first-time buyer through. It's really education.
So that's, and that's part of my channel here, is to educate and equip people. I'm also a visionary and a dreamer, and I don't want to squash anyone's dreams. So one of the things that I've always shared with people, and I have a lot of different examples in my life, but one of the examples was, I'm an international adoptive mom. My youngest is through adoption. And we started that in 2005. And it took until January of 2008. So it was the longest pregnancy I had. It was a paper pregnancy, right? So it's a lot of paperwork, social workers, background checks. You put in for children. We were open to special needs. It is intense. But I'm a person of faith. We prayed about it, and I knew that the journey was part of the process, that the journey was equipping me with everything that I would need, so I was lacking in nothing. And with everything that happened, and as it went, and you think, oh, we're going to be matched, and then you get a call and you're not matched, and there's that disappointment, which, people happens when they're buying their houses and they're putting in offers and they're getting disappointed and they want to tap out. Well, I'll tell you what, if I had tapped out, and we even had a social worker tell us, you guys have been doing, this is just crazy. They even thought maybe because the headquarters was back east and they weren't giving California families a fair shake. I mean, even a social worker's like, this is just, she was scratching her head. I don't know what's happened here. And I said, hey, you know what? If God called us to it, he's going to see us through it. Who am I to tap out? He knows who our child is. On that very list that she had asked us to tap out, that was our daughter. She's now 15. She's at St. Francis. She's a valid Victorian. I mean, she is just an incredible child. And that journey, when we got that picture and we knew, and we went all the way to China, and I held her in my arms on my 40th birthday, that was the journey. That was why you don't tap out. So whatever your dreams are, whether it's been something that you've been called to from, in faith, or it's something that just has been planted and you've been looking at it, if you tap out, you are selling yourself short, and not just yourself, your family. The incredible blessings by staying through. Everyone says, oh, she's so lucky. When people hear, oh, she's so lucky because she's here now, especially immigrants will say how lucky, she's a full US citizen. She's your child. This is incredible, right? No, it's a blessing. We have been far blessed beyond belief. So that's these journeys for families. A roof over your head is important. Home ownership, it's an emotional thing. It is a psychological thing. It's a dream and a vision. And I don't think anyone should ever set that aside because they found out today that they don't have a high enough credit score.
So it really gets to education. Somebody educated you about the process, and then you received more education during the process. And so going back to the first-time buyer, going back to what it is that you and I do, which is help people get into houses, there's 2 consults somebody's going to get. Somebody's going to get the Hayley consult on the big picture, the why, the house, what it is, the area, all those things. And then that person's going to get the Pitt consult on the loan. And that's a different consult, but it's an important one because without the loan, the deal's not going to come together. The deal's not going to close.
That's
And
right.
everything we can overcome if you have the motivation and sometimes the resources. So a great first step for anybody is to talk with the realtor, to talk with Hayley. That's where it all starts, in my opinion. And then from there, let the professional start to lead you down the path so that they can get you to another professional. And then together we can, help figure out what fits for you, and then understanding the process. It's funny, the process, the education process is probably the best part about what we do.
It is.
And if we do a really good job of it, then we get rewarded with a really good transaction. On my board over here, I'm looking at the 6 open transactions that I still am closing at the end of the month here, and all of them are purchases. And as I look over there, I nothing but smile, because each one of those people has done at least one, if not several, consult calls with me, Google Meets, whatever, Zooms,
Right.
and they know my style, and they know the confidence that we're going to close in these transactions, trying to close.
That is so key and integral, is that in business, the way that you grow is by connections. And when you're working with someone, and we work with people that we trust, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so it's about building those relationships. And it's super important for me to establish relationships with lenders, escrow officers, with people that make it all part of it, home inspectors. If I have a home inspector that comes out that's, doesn't really put the effort in and misses things that my clients aren't able to see. So it's important. And so that's why I brought you on the live stream today. You obviously can do, you're a local lender. You probably could do loans anywhere in California, I'm sure, with the internet and everything, but you really specialize in helping people in the local market.
You just a loan's a loan anywhere where you're licensed to do it. But I wanted to talk about the 4 reasons that somebody would want to work with Hayley. I have 4 reasons, if I could tell you about why. And they're sincere, because this is what you're going to get with Hayley. The first of all, the relationship that Hayley's going to have with you, and the service and her expertise, it's going to transcend all of time. Meaning, your journey might be the house is 2 years from now. Hayley's going to take you on and do that with you. Your journey might be next week, but she's going to give you that service and transcend that relationship. The second part is she's going to make the whole process very simple but extraordinary. She's going to make it take this complex thing, and she's going to build it down to something that is simple, fast, and extraordinary. And the way she's doing that is with her third thing, which I personally have seen her in action, and that's communication. Communication to Hayley is not just talking, but listening, understanding what the obstacle is, figuring out what the options are, and explaining those to the buyer or to the seller. And it's that communication about things that you need to close a transaction. We get involved in transactions, and there was something that we couldn't have seen because it had to do with something that came up during it. And it's her communication with the other agents, with the buyer or seller or parties or loan officer is just amazing. And then the last thing that I love, the fourth thing that Hayley does is she's there for the client when the client's doing the deal, meaning she shows up when you're riding the bike. So the client's learning to ride the bike for the first time. Sorry, everything goes to bicycles in my life. Going to ride the bike the first time, and Hayley jumps on her bike and you could do this. Come on, we can get in this first. We can sell this house. We can overcome this issue. And I call it, she gets in there and rides the bike and matches the client's efforts. So those are the 4 reasons that I've enjoyed working with Hayley, and I know anybody out there would really enjoy working with you.
Gosh, Pitt, thank you so much. Here I'm bringing you on to talk about loans, and I really appreciate that. And again, I love to surround myself with people who are like-minded and provide the same level of service, because I really do. I take each journey for each client is it is the most important journey for them. And so I make it the most important thing that I'm doing. And that's one of the reasons I partner with you, is because you understand that. You also know that I text and or call or hunt you down, and you're accessible, and I appreciate that. And that it's true. It's what happens in life. Clients, a lot of times, they're, in order to have that income that you're verifying, they're at work or they're doing what they do, and we do what we do, and it all comes together. And so that's why I've partnered with you. I send anyone who doesn't come with me already saying that they have a lender, it's like, you need to call him and get started with him. And even if they do have a lender, oftentimes I will ask if they're open to at least running it by you, just because one, you may be able to do something better for them, right? But really, two, you're able to take a look at the same situation, doesn't cost them any more money, doesn't affect the credit score. And what it does is it gives me a vote of confidence. So whether they choose to work with you or not, I have that vote of confidence from you because I have that relationship with you. And I know many sellers, when they're selling now, they're like, well, who's your lender? Well, I don't know. If they don't know them or whatever, I don't have to worry about that with you, because if you don't know someone, you're on the phone talking to them prior to them even asking you who is the lender. Right. So that's what I love about you, is you're very proactive. You make sure that they understand, because like you said earlier, this doesn't cross the finish line without the financing. Right. So in my opinion, we are, I always refer back to faith type things, but I think about, the body, right? Like if the hands over here doing something and legs over here doing something, they're not working together. It's and they're all equally important, right? So yes. At the end of the day, but the guy who catches the winning pass, right? Like you're the guy who crosses, makes the touchdown for us. And it's like, okay, clear to close. We're good, And so that's why I have partnered with you, and I appreciate you. And I know that if there's other lenders out there or loan officers out there that are looking to partner with someone who has the same mentality, maybe they're in the loan industry, they're here locally. I think you're growing. You have to be growing your team, because you're the volume that you're doing. So I know that you're adding people on and things like that. So if someone was interested in that, they could reach out to you. And I didn't put down, and I was going to.
Yeah, I call it, I call it everybody's own loan journey. So, if you're in the mortgage business, or you want to be in the mortgage business, it's really about your journey. And one of the reasons that we're all attracted to this business is there's no one book on how to do real estate. But the activities and who you hang around, and the training and the emulation, that's where you start to see a higher level loan officer. And so one of the things that's great, Hayley, is that I have attracted, and I do work with a lot of higher level loan officers, and a higher level loan officer is doing 3 or more transactions a month. If you're doing 3 or more a month, then you're making enough to not work a second job. You're a full-time professional originator. That's a key metric for me, 3 a month.
A key metric. Okay. Mm-hmm. And then are you, your website is pacwm.com?
Mm-hmm. You can Google Pitt Miller. You can find me in the world out there, but Wholesale Mortgage is our company. And we're growing. I always say, bam, exciting things are happening with us, because they are, and exciting people are discovering us. And we've grown quite a bit in the last 2 years, organically, naturally, because, people want to be around other good people. They want training, they want support, they want to be with a company that's going somewhere. And that's what we got going on.
Well, very good. Fantastic. Well, I know from a buyer standpoint, they're in good hands when I turn them over to you. And I know I have a friend who connected with you. I've sent other agents and said, here, have Pitt do it. So I think I've sent you several agents to work with their clients. That's the part about the relationship business, like you said, growing organically. When you do what you say you're going to do and you follow through and there's good communication, it's a win-win for everyone. Pitt, I am absolutely blessed to have met you and come across you in business early on in my real estate career. And you just made what I do so much easier, because what you do is so integral to it crossing the finish line. So I really appreciate you.
Yeah, appreciate the mutual appreciation back there. Thanks for having me on, Hayley. Really
You're
appreciate
welcome. Thank you. And I'll send you out the video, because it'll be recorded and you can repurpose it and use it for yourself as well. And I want to thank you.
You're welcome. See ya.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.